Thank you, Chair Weston. Through you to the student trustees. A few weeks ago, the student trustees had questions regarding the school day calendar, the 40-minute lunch break, and breaks during learning time. First of all, I want to recognize that my answers to the original questions were not adequate, and I apologize for the manner in which I answered those questions and wish to ensure the student trustees, and particularly student trustee Sorar, who asked the question, that I truly apologize to you for my tone in answering your question. I truly welcome your questions in the boardroom and encourage you to continue to represent student voice here. I'd like to try again tonight with your two questions. At the September 13th Committee of the Whole meeting, student trustee Sorar had asked me about student breaks during the 150-minute learning blocks. Since that time, we've been able to hear back from schools on different ways teachers are giving learning breaks during that time. Some are actually allowing students to take a break or a pause from their learning. Others are thinking about ways to vary the learning in class so that students are explicitly on task for a part of the learning time and perhaps working quietly and at their own pace at other times. We really do appreciate the student feedback that is coming around how difficult that 150 minutes is to learn in a row. The type of course and subject matter will lend itself to look differently with different approaches by the teachers. As well, I wanted to share tonight that staff and learning support services are supporting secondary schools and have been working with teachers to continue to encourage them to approach learning with a trauma-informed approach, meeting students where they are, building classroom environments where relationships are valued and where students can feel comfortable giving input about their learning and well-being in the classroom. So thank you again for that question, student trustee Sorar. A second question that student trustees asked me, and one that is top of mind for staff, is the difficulty of the 40-minute lunch break in the modified semester model. Typically, pre-pandemic, lunches were around 70 or 75 minutes, depending on the school. But due to the modified semester daily schedule, in consultation with public health, it became necessary this year again to shorten the school day at the end to allow our transportation partners to clean buses between various runs that they do with the Catholic School Board, as well as our over 100 elementary schools. Because the Ministry of Education requires that all students to have 300 minutes of learning each day, the time taken at the end of the day to shorten the day had to come out of this lunch break. I want to acknowledge that it is our desire to restore the daily schedule to a full day with a regular lunch period as we had pre-pandemic. The question came up about whether we would consider a return to the pre-pandemic semester model of 4 periods per day with a 70-minute lunch break for second semester. Again, I think I speak for everyone that we all would love to return to a semester model that we enjoyed in the pre-pandemic. The Ministry of Education in the spring asked school boards to plan for another quadmester model for this year. And members of the senior team, on a recommendation from our student trustees last spring, pursued that possibility in the spring and decided, as many boards did, on the modified semester we have this semester. It's not ideal, and we're continuing to monitor how it's going for this school year. The Ministry of Education has not, however, indicated to school boards to return to a regular semester model for second semester yet. So we do continue to consult with public health on this matter, as cohorting continues to be a strategic approach to contact tracing for students. A full day where students attend 4 classes per day would still have significant impact for close contacts were a student or staff member to test positive for COVID-19. We will continue to give trustees and student trustees an update on the daily schedule and the semester model if things do change for the second half of this school year. I'd like to give Coordinating Superintendent Gerard maybe the opportunity to add any further information regarding the specific question around transportation services and that connection regarding the daily schedule. And that's all I have for my update, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gerard. Thank you. And and to add to the response that was offered by Superintendent DeBoer, when it comes to our transportation services, we are really under a tremendous amount of pressure to make sure that we are staffing our routes. That's a primary concern right now. Furthermore, we are doing all that we can to ensure that we are performing the adequate amount of cleaning to meet those requirements that have been put forward by the Ministry of Education and Public Health. Unfortunately, due to these factors, this ultimately means that we needed to adjust the school day to allow for those activities to take place. My hope, as I'm sure all of our hopes is that we will be out of the pandemic and not have to be in a position where we are truncating the school day as we are. But again, I offer that the necessity of this cleaning is really limiting our ability to serve and support in the way that we typically do, thus the reduced lunch hour.
Okay, thank you both for those updates on the previous questions. Student Trustee Soro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Superintendent DeBoer, thank you. Your thoughtful reply is appreciated.